Hey friends, CGS here, and yes, it's true what they say, I'm a lot taller than you think. Yes, so lots of people said to me at GitCon, wow, you're a lot taller than I thought, and this is how tall I am. No, I've just bought something which I really loved using in my younger years. When I first started playing the electric guitar, my buddy Andy down the road from me had something similar to this. He had the combo. This is, of course, and we're going to do a little review on it today, the Marshall 1980s Lead 12 full stack. And quite a little beast it is as well. Yes, these came out in the 80s along with a lot of solid state stuff from Marshall, because there was a period back in the early 80s, early to mid 80s, where tubes for tube amps were becoming quite scarce, and Marshall wanted to insure themselves against not being able to make valve amps. And so they invested quite a lot of R&D into solid state devices. And this is one of my favorite little amps because back in the day, it was the best way of owning a full stack without breaking the bank. And it is, of course, the Marshall Lead 12 solid state amp, single channel. What we've got is we've got gain, volume, treble, middle and bass. Got a line out on the front as well. You've got a high and a low input. On the back, you've got the speaker inputs and a headphone out. So I was watching a video recently by my buddy Leon Todd, and he had one of these as his first amp as well that his parents bought him when he was a youngster. And it just reminded me how good the tone on this was and how much I'd like to get hold of one. So I went onto eBay and I had a good look around, and lo and behold, there was one for sale on there at a price that I couldn't really resist. So I went and picked it up today, and it's in immaculate condition really, but it does need a little bit of TLC, a little bit of cleaning up, and a little bit of repair on the top strap because there is a break in the plastic. But we're going to get this all cleaned up today. I'm going to give you a little demo of it, and we're going to meet the Marshall Lead 12. So here she is. Cute little thing, hey? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the electronics, and I'm just going to give that a blow through, and I'm going to make sure, I'll just use some switch cleaner on it, make sure it's all in good order, make sure those inputs are nice and solid and secure and making contact. And I'm going to give all of the casing a clean up. I'm going to try and get some of the grime off of this piping and off the Marshall logos and all the piping around here. I'm going to be very careful not to get the speaker cloth wet because this stuff stains if you get it wet. But all around it, I'm just going to use a pretty much a standard detergent, a kitchen detergent, just to get into the little gaps in the Tolex cover on this and see if I can't get it looking brand new, because there's not a single chip on it, not a single mark on it, and it's been in single hands from the day that it was born back in the early 80s. And the guy that I bought it from has owned it from brand new. He bought it from a shop in London, and I'm the very proud second owner of it. So without further ado, we'll get it cleaned up. I'll give you a little bit of a sped up film of me cleaning it up, and we'll have a look inside it, and then we will plug it in and give it a try out. Here's that damage I was talking about on the handle, and it's just a little break here that I think we can fix with a bit of super glue and just get this all sorted out, because I think these should just slide off. I might try the other one first, but as you can see, the amp itself is not in bad condition at all. Hope you like the blue LED light that's on it at the moment. So there we go, there's the controls, a little bit dirty on the logo, and likewise some of the angled 4x12 could do with just a little bit of a clean, and maybe even the spider's webs taken off of the straight cap. So there we go, all in pretty good nick, and I'll show you the back as well. Here's the back, and as you can see, it's just a little dusty, and one tiny little chip off the paint at the back, but generally it's just general wear and tear. And here is the back plate, the IEC power cable in, two 8-ohm speaker inputs. These are 10-inch speakers in this. I don't know if you can see that out of the angle of the light, but there's the headphone socket as well. And it tells you that it mutes the main outputs, the speaker outputs. Never use speakers of less than 8 ohm. There we go. So let's take this screw and this screw out, and also there should be one on the bottom. Okay, so here we go. We'll take this one out first. Okay, so there we go. We'll remove that back plate. Okay, we'll tip her up and then just gently remove the electronics, and we'll get rid of this cabinet and we'll clean it while the electronics are out of it. Let's have a look in here. So let's have a look in here. So what we've got is we've got the two transistors, which is a transistor amp. You've got all of your pots, they look in good condition. This hasn't been opened very much, I would suggest. This says B005 or 3005 USA, but this is not a US model, I'm absolutely sure of it. There's the internal fuse. These can sometimes go. Very basic and very simple. It's just a straightforward amplifier. There's the input transformer, no need for any output transformer on this. That'll step it down to probably about 24 volts, I would think. Not absolutely sure. Somebody can perhaps tell me. For those of you that are into electronics, you'll know a lot more than I do about this. But this is it. Two little transistors, and they are MJ3001. And it's got T8805M on it. The pots all move very freely, so by the looks of this, sometimes these inputs can do with just a little bit of tightening up so that they make good contact, but these seem to be fairly good. Very simple circuit. Good fun though. Hope you've enjoyed that. Yeah, while we've got the electronics out of it, I just get a very dilute solution of standard kitchen cleaner, and then I wring everything out as dry as I can, and I'm just going to literally give it a nice scrub. Here it is, all cleaned up and ready to record. I'm just going through the Zoom H4n as I always do, and that's how I recorded every guitar when I was at GitCon. Now, giving it a real good clean, I've also just checked all the switches and stuff on the inside, but it's looking a lot cleaner. You can see all the Marshall logos a lot better now. And I've found that classic tone that me and my buddies always used to like. I've got the gain just a little above 8 o'clock, volume up at the center at 5, the treble down, because these things do tend to be quite tinny otherwise. I've got the mid and the bass both at 8 o'clock, and you get this real classic nice Marshall tone.
Been a star, done an incredible job thus far, respected by everybody.
I like China. I just sold an apartment for $15 million to somebody from China.
So as you can see, got it working nicely, and it's got that real 80s solid state tone, but it's got that classic Marshall tone as well, because it does do the tube amp thing. When you turn it down, it really cleans up. Oh, talking of which, sounds like I've got to clean up my bit of switch cleaner required on the PRS volume pot there. So it does clean up. And I've just got the settings, the gain at 8 o'clock, volume at 5, the treble at 2, the middle at 8 and the bass at 8. That was the setting that we always used to love. And the reason being, it just gives you that real Marshall tone. Put the guitar out of tune using the whammy now. Anyway, cleaned up. And what nice tones you can get out of this. I'll give you a quick demonstration of the range of the tone pots and also the volume. So we'll start by turning the gain right the way down and the volume right up. Put everything at 5 o'clock. Straight up, sorry, at 12 o'clock I should say, at 5. And just touch a little bit of gain in. So that's at 2 o'clock and it's very loud. In fact, it's too loud for in here, so I'll just drop the volume back to 8. Middle pickup. Okay, so that's that. We'll give you the single coil. Let's have a listen to that on it. You hear what I mean about that treble? It's so high. Knock it right back, take all the treble out. All the middle out. All the bass out. And it goes to 0. So now I'm just bringing the treble back up to the middle position. Do the same with the bass. And the treble. Really bright, isn't it? It's very, very bright. That's why I like to keep the treble at about 2 o'clock. The mid nice, clean, usable, clean tone. So then knocking the volume back down to 2 o'clock, or to 2, and then bring the gain up to 5. And you can see that the tones are quite varied. That treble really does need just to be right the way down. It's quite harsh. Mid is nice though. You get that middle cut type sound with the bass and treble right up. That kind of scoop sound. But it really does lend itself just to that real sort of classic JCM 800 range, because this was made at the same time as the JCM 800 at the beginning of the 80s, and this was always our classic tone. And yep, 8 2 2 8 8. Tell a lie, the volume was meant to be at 5, wasn't it? That's better. 8 5. She's just a little smidge below 8, because otherwise it does tend to do a little bit more than break up. There we go. So there you have it, the Marshall Leeds 12 full stack, 2 1x10s and a 12 watt solid state head, and it sounds just as good to me as it did all those years ago back in the 80s. So hope you've really enjoyed this. I'll be back really soon, and this will be a welcome addition to a slightly new little filming area that I've got coming up for you. So stay tuned and you'll be seeing that real soon. In the meantime, folks, as always, you take good care.